If you're a fitness instructor and you would love to get deeper, more transformative results for your clients, you are going to love to hear my interview with Jill Joseph. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Hi.
Well, Jill has been in the fitness industry for over 25 years, and she has a background as a teacher. We're going to hear more about that, but we're going to hear how she took her results and her career to the next level to have a soul satisfying practice, deeply transforming and getting excellent results for her clients through use of nutrition and stress and really taking a holistic approach, and how that has just changed everything for her. So, welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, tell us what you were doing before becoming a health coach and really what led to you wanting to take matters into your own hands. Share about your personal story and what happened there that was that rock bottom moment that changed everything for you.
Yeah, so I moved out to Los Angeles in 2001 to pursue acting. I am still acting, but when I got here, I started to take classes at the gym just to, for the first time ever, just kind of trying them out. And I was always kind of the back row participant. And then as I got more confident and a little stronger, I'd moved up a little bit more and a little bit more. And then one day the instructor said, this weekend we're doing an instructor search, like you should come and like see if you like it. And I was like, okay. And I did, and I was selected and I started teaching. And that was, 26, 27 years ago. I've been teaching ever since. I was working out a bunch, obviously teaching classes and whatever. And then in 2011, I had my son. And after I had my son, I just sort of, things just felt harder than they needed to feel. I was still working out, but I just felt that I was low on energy. I wasn't sleeping well. New mom stuff is kind of what I chalked it up to. But then in 2015, I had a full-blown panic attack on Christmas morning of all mornings. And my husband took me directly to the doctor, and they said they diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder. I left with a prescription for Zoloft and started taking that and felt like, okay, great. Like this must be what like normal people feel like. Like, okay, great. Like everything's solved, or so
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah.
And so then as the months progressed, I was taking a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more just to keep feeling that sort of level of normal. And I personally am not a huge fan of medication for myself. I just was like, where is the end in sight here? Like, when do I get to stop taking this and just go to normal? And so I realized that that wasn't actually what this prescription was meant to do. It was just meant to be a lifetime sort of situation. And so I started doing some research on my own into seeing if maybe the foods I'm eating, if I change that, I mean, I already had the workout component. So
Yeah.
is it the food that I'm eating? Is it meditation? Like, what could it be? So I kind of started playing around with the foods that I was allowing into my body. And I started noticing that my anxiety reduced, that my energy was huge. I just had endless energy. I slept completely through the night. And then I noticed that, this sort of excess weight that I just had since having my son just came off, like just sort of effortlessly came off. And so I got off the Zoloft. I was able to completely get off the Zoloft and not sort of rebound and not feel, that I still needed to have that. And I was just feeling really great. And one of the members in my classes noticed, they all noticed, they all like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Whatever, like everything changed. Like my skin was better, like kind of everything changed. And one of my members said, will you coach me? Will you teach me how you did it? And I was like, well, no, I can't coach you. I don't know. I can't do it. And she was like, please, please, please. And she just kept after me, kept after me. And I was like, okay, you'll be my first client. Like, let's do it. And she had amazing results. And after that, it was like, I guess this is what I meant to do. And like people just kept kind of coming ever since. So now this is what I do, and I love it.
I love all of that, how you've used your personal story and experience. And that's some kind of transformation when other people can see it. And so, especially when you start off with something like anxiety that like you think, hey, it's a hidden, nobody can tell. But when you get to the root cause and you decrease the inflammation and you de-stress, then yes, your hair is better, your skin is better, your weight is better, your mood is better, everything's better. And to have people go like, I want what she's having. There is no better client attraction strategy than being authentic and like, working in your zone. That doesn't mean that somebody who's a health coach has to be, a supermodel. That's not what we're saying. But like in your niche, in your area, have a track record, and people can tell that it's going to be obvious that you're good at it. And then that makes your job a lot easier because people will be coming to you. And then by walking them through exactly what you did, you can get great result. They can get great results too. And it feels so good. So with all of that, like you've got quite a broad background: fitness instructor, acting, a mom. You've got this variety of both anxiety, physical movement, all of the things, the nutrition components. So with all of that bundled in, who would you say is who you're especially passionate about helping? Who's coming to you asking for help? And tell us a little bit about who you just love to help get great results.
Yeah, so I help stressed out professionals. A lot of teachers actually come my way, and my husband's a teacher. I don't know if it's because I'm a fitness instructor and they just sort of come to me, but I have a lot of teachers that I help. And my specialty is getting people to lose that stubborn weight, to boost their energy, to sort of calm that overall inflammation, so that they can sleep better. And so they can just kind of get back to living like they mean it.
What do you love about being a health coach? I really think it's like the best career path ever. I wish I had known about it 40 years ago, but I'm so glad that I had stumbled upon it. What do you love best about being a health coach?
Well, being a health coach definitely like speaks to my soul. Like it just every time I'm working, it doesn't feel like work. And I think what I love best about it is seeing people who really want to make a change and have tried to make a change and just feel like they can't do it. It's not happening. They're broken, whatever. But then seeing them have these changes and have these successes and really sort of see that drop in where they realize like, oh, like they start to get it, that moment, and just kind of being there with them for that ride is just so amazing to me.
Yeah, I agree. I live for those transformations, those before and afters in any shape or form that it comes in. So, before coming to the Health Professional Academy and joining us here, and you're such a rock star. You're such an amazing results. Your clients, I know they love you. There's a lot of them, and they're getting a lot of great results. It's really next level. What was something though before when you first approached? What were you struggling with? What was going on at that point in time when you were trying to create your coaching practice from scratch?
Yeah, so I sort of describe it as like climbing sand mountain. Like I, was working so hard and like, okay, here we go. Like I went to IIN, and so after IIN, I was like, okay, here we go. And I just felt like every day I was working from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed, and not working necessarily serving clients, which I have already said is does not feel like work, but
Yeah.
working on my business. How do
Yeah.
I get clients to know that I'm here? How do I manage my business, whatever? And I was working just endless hours. And at the end of the day, I would be like, did I make any progress? Like, is
Mhm.
anything that I just did today
Yeah.
going to pay off in the end at all? And so, yeah, that was definitely so when I reached out to you guys. I was being asked a series of questions, and it was like, oh, do you have a niche? Or I actually read your book. That's how I found you. So I read Six Figure, and then in Six Figure, you start talking about like, oh, if you haven't read Free to Heal, and I was like, oh, let me stop. And then I moved to Free to Heal, and then I was like, I can't do this by myself. And so I reached out to you guys, and I was like, I don't have a niche. Like I don't even know what a business plan is. Like I remember being asked like, okay, what's your business plan? And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Sand
Yeah.
Mountain. was
Yeah.
my business plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was kind of where I was, stuck on the bottom of Sand Mountain, when I met you guys.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put a link to Six Figure Health Coach. So if anybody is like saying like I don't know my niche, I don't know about Signature Program, I'm gonna put a link. You can get a free copy of Six Figure Health Coach. I'll put that in the description so that you can get that. I remember you telling me once too that you had been listening to the podcast. So some of you might be listening to this on the podcast, and now it's how cool, full circle for you to be the one that's on the podcast, or some of you see this on YouTube. And you actually had a sales call that was coming up. Do you remember that story?
Yes, so I would always listen to you. I'd walk my dog and I would listen to you. And you were talking about pricing and sort of how to price. And you had mentioned, like this should just be your price, and like that nobody should be less than this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was totally less than that. And so I like came home and I had a call that day, with a potential client. And, at the end, she was like, yeah, this sounds great. How much is it? And I went to say my normal price,
Yeah.
but then my mouth said the Dr. Shaunna price. And I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it. And she goes, okay. And I was like, and that was literally the moment that I was like, okay, Dr. Shaunna, got it, got it, got it.
You've been able to help so many people since, and you'll be on. You absolutely deserve a Six Figure Health Coach podcast. Let's just say that you're right on
Thank you.
track, and I'm so excited for all that you're doing. But it's a win-win for everybody. Like it's a win for your clients. You're making a really great a difference and a meaningful difference and a meaningful impact. And you're the thing that I love the way that the business plan set up that we structure, which a lot of people don't understand that um, the client in the long run pays the same amount or less, actually. But it's structured in a way that they actually get something for it. They get results. And so I remember when I had a lot of personal trainer clients that would be coming in, and they're like, oh, I could never charge that. And I'm like, you already are. You already are. You told me they see you 2 times a week and it's this much dollars. And let's say we do that for 12 weeks, you're charging more. And so it's just that we're going to, rather than doing a one-off and offering it to someone and saying, okay, well, how much can you afford? Oh, you can afford one session. Okay, here's one session. You can afford 4 sessions. There you go, but they don't get any results. And so what I say is like, unless you're going to deliver excellent results, give it to people for free. And then, but then otherwise, when you're bringing them into what I like to refer to as a container of transformation, which is what you do with your clients, you bring them in, only those who want it, who need it, who can't figure out how to get it, who are kind of begging you to help them, you bring them in the container of transformation, and they enter here in point A, but they exit at point B, or maybe not exit. Maybe they continue to go because there is no finish line, but they leave with results. And so that's something different. And so instead of doing what most people do, which is trading time for money and charging by the hour or by the session, that burns out the practitioner, the personal trainer, the fitness instructor, the health coach, the doctor, it burns them out, and the client is left with less results. Instead, this is a win-win all the way around. And you have implemented that strategy beautifully so that you can do this work that you love, that makes a huge difference for people, and they get excellent results, and it saves them a ton of time and money as well. So I just love that. And it took me years, cost me over 100 grand to try and figure that out, because I tried every other way that didn't work first. Now, what I know for you and your niche and your areas of expertise, because you too tried a whole bunch of things that didn't work, and you've been able to help people and you see what works and what doesn't work and prioritize. When you're helping these women primarily, but I know it's men as well, lose this stubborn weight, and there's if you're out there and you've got excess weight and it's stubborn and you're like, I just can't seem to lose it, okay, listen up. So Jill, and you're masterful, you walk your talk, I can see why people come to you and say, I want what you're having. What do you think is the biggest myth or misbelief when it comes to like losing the weight and keeping it off? It's sustainable weight loss. What are some of the myths that people have?
I think the main one would be that people think there's one right way, right?
Mm.
Like people will come to me and be like, well, it worked for my husband, it worked for my neighbor, it worked for my sister, whatever, that this has got to be the way. There is no other way. And that is just the biggest myth. Like, it isn't, weight loss isn't linear, and it certainly isn't cookie cutter. And we're all very different.
Yeah.
And what may work for one person does not mean, like, what works for me, like I tell my clients all the time, what I eat and how I move my body might not work for you at all. Like,
Yeah.
it might not work at all. And so I think that people come after having, really tried and researched and God bless it, but like followed the Instagram gurus and,
Yeah. Yeah.
tried the online programs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they come just really feeling that they're broken, or they can't do this, or this isn't for them. And I just want to say that that is not the case. You just haven't found exactly what works perfectly for you, and that sustainable weight loss is 100% possible.
And it is, I love that that's usually the take home message that people get, is that they're not broken. They're doing some things that have these results, and when we do a few other different things, they'll have a few other different results, and then we get to choose what that is. And I've heard you say it's not out there. The answer's not out there. It's internal, um and like when you have clients come to you, and what is the biggest difference? Because they've been doing all the yo-yo diets and they've been starving themselves in that. And the missing link, what are some of the things that they say after working with you? Like, I think that kind of would highlight what the difference in experience is working with you than just kind of following the
Mhm.
internet guru.
Yeah. So what that is sort of this, we have this disconnect between our outside and our inside. And my clients really learn how to connect with their body and understand the messages. Our body is constantly sending us messages, and we're either picking up on them or we're not picking up on them. And so people will come, okay, I did something and it worked and I lost weight. I'm like, okay, great. So tell me about that. How did it feel? And like, oh, it felt terrible. Like I was starving all the time, or I was really crabby, or like I didn't sleep or whatever. And, I was like, yeah, so that's not for you. Like, your body was saying, I'm not happy, because they'll
Right.
say like, oh, it worked, it worked, it worked. And I'm like, well, it didn't work, because that's not something, you're not going to be miserable for the rest of your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's important that we find something that is makes you happy and makes you feel good, and is something that then you can continue on doing. This isn't something that we do and we just white knuckle for this small amount of time, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, until we want to white knuckle it again, it is what it is.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And the eye-opening experience for people go like, this is actually easy. It's not hard. And yeah, if it's not sustainable, like if it's not something that is pleasurable or sustainable, it's not going to last. And then it was kind of a waste.
Yeah.
And yeah, and for people to realize, it's not about starving yourself. You can eat a lot, but
Yeah.
just of of foods that make you feel better, that are fueling you. I love that. This whole process of working with clients, and becoming a health coach is really a growth process. I mean, our business only grows to the extent that we do, but also we are in this connection and this great relationship with our clients. How have you grown as you've adopted this health coach business? What are some of the things that you've noticed?
Yeah, I have grown a ton. I always say I learned so much from my clients. Like, my clients think they learn from me. I'm like, oh, I learned from you. I jokingly refer to things my clients say as like client TED Talk. They'll say something just brilliant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this client TED Talk, like how perfect. I'm going to use that for other clients, and they're like, okay. I have a client now who we were checking in at our session, and I said, how was last week for sort of focusing more on you, like bringing the focus to you? How did that
Yeah.
go? And she said, well, you know what? I've been waking up early in the morning, setting my alarm like 30 minutes before I really need to be up. And she goes, and that's my morning me time. And I said, oh, morning me time. Like, well, how brilliant. Like, I'm totally going to use this. But in seeing people commit to their health and their wellness, it really inspires me to continue living the lifestyle that I'm living and continuing to focus on things that I do daily that's like, is this launching me forward or is this holding me back? And so always want to be a really good role model for my clients. And, they really help inspire me to keep living a very health centered lifestyle.
If you had to go back and talk to your former self, um, now that you know and you've been through, like, from that moment when you had that panic attack on Christmas morning, and now all this whole journey to become a fitness instructor, to become a health coach, to grow your own successful, soul satisfying business. If you had to go back and talk to your former self, as they're in the depths of it, they haven't seen the light at the end of the tunnel yet, what would you say?
I would say, oh, honey, you are so worth it. Like, you are so worth it. Like, you are worth your time, your effort. You are worth caring about what is going in your body. You are worth caring about who you surround yourself with. And your happiness is the most important thing. I think, especially as a young mom, it was like everybody else, like doing this for other people, but really kind of bringing it back. It's like I tell my clients, when we're on airplanes, they instruct us to put our mask on before we help somebody else. Because if we're not okay,
Yeah,
then we cannot be anything to anybody else. And
yeah.
so I would really just say, like, you are absolutely worth 100% everything that you can give yourself.
Yeah, and then you can really give from the overflow. And I think a lot of we kind of hear it all the time, and we heard the oxygen mask analogy, but then are we actually doing that? And a lot of us, um, especially as people pleasers, there's a lot of healers, a lot of women who are people pleasers, very generous, very caring, which is good, but out of balance, not good at all. And then you end up there's nothing left to give. You can't pour from an empty cup, and then you end up demanding other people take care of you because we've sacrificed our health. I think you were talking about something about um was there an analogy or something where people were like using up their or putting off like dealing with their health till
Yeah.
later?
Yeah. So, a client of mine had said, she was in her late 60s and she said, we spend our entire lives saving up for retirement and never giving a thought to the fact that we're going to need our body to enjoy that retirement, right?
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like, great, now I get to retirement. And instead of being able to spend, my wealth here traveling and doing all the things that I dreamed in my 20s and 30s and 40s as I was saving all this money to do, now I'm using that wealth for my health. So now
Yeah.
I'm using it
Yeah.
for medication and other and procedures and whatever. And I thought, oh yeah, that's really profound.
Because yeah, they save up so that they can travel, but then they don't have the vehicle, the body that will take them there. And we really when we take care of things, they tend to do better. And so and it's little changes along the way. And you are, in this perfect um time period for people where they have a moment of decision and choice, whether they decide to like keep doing what they're doing or they say, you know what? Maybe it is possible for me to lose the weight. Maybe it is possible for me to get my energy back, bring down my inflammation. Maybe it is possible. And then that can completely change the trajectory so they can actually enjoy their retirement. And, or even before retirement for that matter. I mean, you need energy to deal with young kids and all sorts of things. That's when you especially need it. So I like that. When one of my favorite things is because I know you as health coaches who are passionate about getting to the root cause, not just slapping some band-aids on or just doing a little thing here or there, really helping people get really excellent results. That's part of our strategy at the Health Professional Academy is excellence is our strategy, deliver excellent results, and then everything sort of takes care of itself. When you're helping people that might be coming to you for one thing, what are some of the ripple effect bonus benefits they get as a result of fixing maybe this one thing that I know there's gifts when we get to the root cause. Share with us a couple of examples of that. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, I love these too. So, like I said, I have a lot of people coming to me to lose stubborn weight. So, I was working with a woman, that was what she wanted. She had come from a very yo-yo weight loss situation where, again, she would suffer and lose the weight and be like, yay, and then be like, I gotta eat again, or I have to do my life again, or whatever. And so, she started to lose weight, and in her words, effortlessly. She started to
Yeah.
effortlessly lose weight. And a couple weeks through working together, she said, you know what? I don't have the pain in my hands anymore that I had. She said, my joints used to hurt. It used to be so swollen and inflamed, and that has completely gone away. And she said, I never considered that it was dietary related at all. I just thought, I was getting older. That's kind of how it was. And she had also mentioned that she just had chronic heartburn, and it was like, oh, like she didn't even realize that she didn't have it anymore. She was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my gosh, and this went away too. So it was like these two things that she didn't even come to me for, or didn't even think
Yes.
that it was related. That she kind of got those results with her weight loss.
Sometimes people think it's just they have to live with it, or maybe their relative had it, or all their friends have, sore knees, sore hands, so I guess I have to live with it. But no, that's just because everybody else is doing the same thing as you might be, and it doesn't have to be that way. Awesome. Share another.
Yeah, so I have another client who he came to me wanting to gain weight. And so he was coming from like a very weightlifter diet. It was like, I was joking that I'm like, it's meat, eggs, meat, and more meat. Like that's kind of what he was eating. And so we kind of started to transition him a little bit more plant focused. And he really took to it. He was scared. He was like, I have to eat the meat. I can't eat the plants, but started to feel really great and had said to me, maybe 2 months into working together, he said, I'm starting to feel mentally a lot more positive. And he was on medication for depression, which, as you know, is very similar to the anxiety that, I was feeling. It just kind of
Yeah.
presents a little differently.
Yeah.
And he had been on this medication for years and years. And as he started to realize, oh, I'm feeling better, he said, what do you think about me talking to my doctor about like going off it? And I said, I think that's a great idea to have a conversation with your doctor and see what she says. And she was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. And 3 months later, he was completely off his medication. And he said, I 100% thought that this was just what I would be on for the rest of my life, but that he was able to get off of it. And then, in addition, not have those medication side effects,
Yeah.
that we get with those SSRIs, the low energy and the low libido, and all of these things. And he was just like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that this had anything to do with this.
I mean, those are the life-changing patterns that we see when we get to root cause. Like everything gets better, like it did with you. When you went first, and like it did with you, and other people notice, like, wow, like how did you do that? Like, how did you get that great skin and hair and energy and mood? And how did you do that? And it's simpler than people think. And it's not about starving yourself. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about exercising like crazy. And then to be able to do that, deliver excellent results, word gets out, more clients want to come to see you, more clients come to see you. And then you've got this beautiful practice that you feel so satisfied about. Like it feels really good to make that kind of a difference. And I just love the work that you do. You have phenomenal energy. I had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Like we've known each other now for a long time, but meeting you in person is also really cool. Neither of us are tall people. I didn't realize that.
I see. I always told my husband I carry myself tall, and he said I was crazy. So,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I'm like, and so it was, but just you're just a phenomenal human being. I really can't say enough about that. And your clients are so blessed to meet with you. And I know you have a generous heart, eager to just connect wherever, whenever, and like offer people like some direction here or there. If people
Yeah.
are listening and they're like, well, I kind of want what she's having. How do I do that? How can they get in touch with you, Jill?
Yeah, so people can find me on my website, which is jilljoseph-onc.com, or they can find me on Instagram. My handle is long. I apologize, but my handle is Optimum Nutrition Coaching.
So that's Jill Joseph onc.com for her website, and then Optimum Nutrition Coaching. It has been fabulous to have you. I'm just so excited to see the rest of what's coming in the next coming years. You're just on such a trajectory, and it's just, an absolute honor and pleasure to get to work with you. And if you are listening out there and you're a health coach or a fitness instructor and wondering, like, I would like to have a practice where I have clients and I get to be able to touch people's lives in that way, I'm going to share a video on the 5-step blueprint to creating the soul satisfying practice that you love. So, with that, have a fantastic week. And of course, be good for you.